Ehud Ólmert, gracias por atender a laSexta. Thank you very much for being with us in laSexta. ¿Cree que estamos más cerca que nunca de un acuerdo de paz o, como siempre, será otra oportunidad perdida?
We are not close at all to an agreement on peace. Now, what is negotiated is an agreement for end the war in Gaza and return back all the hostages. So let's not build up inflated expectations. We are talking about something much smaller, very important. It is a first step. If we will end the war and if the hostages will be back, then possibly we can then move another step forward in the right direction. But it has to start with the end of the war, and the end of the war is far from being peace between Israel and Palestine.
¿Quién sería responsable de que este acuerdo concreto, como está diciendo, no se lleve a cabo?
Of course, Hamas on the one hand and Netanyahu on the other hand, because they are the two sides that negotiate. So they have to agree. We have to agree to end the war, period. Not to end the war for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks, but to end the war. And the Hamas needs to agree to bring back all the hostages, return all the hostages and all the bodies of those who are not alive, all of them together. And also to step down in Gaza. If there will not be an agreement, it's either because Israel doesn't want to end the war or because Hamas doesn't want to bring back all the hostages and to step down in Gaza. But so directly, it's us and them which will be responsible. And I don't draw any comparisons between Israel and Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist, brutal organization. There is no question about it. But the one that holds the key to force these two sides to make an agreement is DJ Trump, Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States of America. If he wants to do it, I think that he has the power to force the two sides to come to terms. Question is whether he will use his power. I don't know.
¿Usted cree que lo está haciendo para conseguir el Nobel de la Paz? Y si es así, bien que llegue a ese acuerdo.
Look, give him a credit. Okay, I don't know if didn't talk to him, so I don't know whether he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. He definitely wants. Who doesn't want it? But I really think that he cares. He cares, and he's invested a lot of time and a lot of efforts, there is no question about it, in order to bring the two sides together. Had it not been for Trump, they wouldn't have met in Sharm el-Sheikh now. So you have to give Trump a credit that he wants the agreement. He may also want the Nobel Peace Prize, but, if he does the right thing, why not?
¿Es el único que puede realmente forzar a Netanyahu? ¿Es la única persona a la que realmente escucha?
Donald Trump? The relations between Donald Trump and Netanyahu are not the relations between friends or partners. No. This is the relation between the boss and someone that works for the boss. And the boss is Donald Trump. Netanyahu is completely 100% dependent on Donald Trump. There is not one person. Can you imagine, let's say, let's assume that it doesn't work. And Netanyahu and Trump is a little bit pissed off with Netanyahu. Can you see Netanyahu coming to Sanchez, for instance, and ask Sanchez to help him? Or can he come to Macron? Or can he come to Sturmer? Or can he come to Meloni? Or can he come to Prime Minister Carney? Or can he come to Chancellor Marz? Or who can he come to? There is only one person in the world which is still supporting Netanyahu. But he is holding Netanyahu in a very sensitive place. And if Netanyahu will not obey his orders, oh boy, what will happen? What will happen?
What do you think is going to happen?
It's going to happen. You remember Zelensky sitting in the Oval Office with this will be worse.
¿Ya?
Yeah.
Usted conoce muy bien a Netanyahu, o al menos mucho mejor que nosotros. ¿Cómo le definiría en una palabra o en una frase?
Netanyahu is shallow, empty. Doesn't believe in anything, doesn't trust anything, is not committed for anything. He is completely empty.
¿Qué piensa de los aliados en el gobierno, de los ultras que están con él en el gobierno?
The group of thugs, you know what are thugs?
No.
A group of bullies, of terrorists. Some of them were convicted.
Very tough terrorists, Colin.
Yes, unfortunately. Messianic, extremist, fundamentalist ayatollahs. What's the difference between them and the ayatollahs in Iran? They got orders from God and they got orders from God. They got orders from God to kill Israelis and they got orders from God to kill Gazans and West Bankers. The same.
¿Qué piensa de Hamas? ¿Cree que van a cumplir con el acuerdo, entregar los rehenes con las bombas cayendo en Gaza?
Look, Hamas is a terrorist organization, the brutal terrorist organization, the worst brutal organization, murderous organization. They've perpetrated the worst possible crimes one can think of. What they did, the horrific actions against innocent people, the killing of children, the raping of the mothers, the killing of elderly people, people that were not soldiers, people that were in the living rooms, in the bedrooms, with the pajamas, killing them brutally in such a way. It's not forgettable and it's not forgivable. The question now is how more it will take in order to completely kick out Hamas from any position of influence in Gaza. Let's face it, Hamas today is not what it was 2 years ago. All of the leaders were eliminated. Yahya Sinwar, Mohammed Deif, Ismail Haniyeh, Mohammed Sinwar, all of the high-ranking, the medium-ranking, and the low-ranking commanders of Hamas were killed. All of the rockets were destroyed. All of the launchers were destroyed. Most of the tunnels were destroyed. More than 60,000 Palestinians were killed. Okay, let's assume that 20,000, maybe 25,000 were Hamas fighters. But there were so many thousands of people in Gaza that were victims of what Hamas started. Of course, they were killed by Israel, regrettably, those who were not involved in terror. And I'm sorry and sad for everyone that was not involved in terrors that was killed by Israeli soldiers. But who caused it? Who triggered it? Who started it? Who made the Israeli reaction inevitable, unfortunately? Of course, it was Hamas, because Hamas didn't care for the lives of Palestinians. Unfortunately, sometimes we did not care enough also, and that is something that I criticized, and I didn't hesitate to criticize. But the reason, the beginning, the basis for everything that happened was Hamas.
Quiero preguntarle por los asentamientos judíos. Yo vine hace muchos años aquí, ahora hay muchísimos más. ¿Eso ha ido a peor para los palestinos?
I'm against building new settlements, okay? And I think that as of today, there are more settlements now than there were in the past. But I'll tell you something. It is still possible to establish a comprehensive political solution on the basis of two states, and it is doable, it is practical, it can be done if the two sides will sit together and talk.
This is possible now?
Yes, yes. 4.4% of the territory of the West Bank will be annexed to the State of Israel according to my plan. And I've prepared a plan. When I was Prime Minister, I submitted it to Palestinians, and they didn't have the courage and the wisdom and the inspirations and the vision to sign it. It may have changed everything. and I presented it to them. I presented to them a plan that the state of Palestine will be on the basis of 67s, that we will annex part of the West Bank, but we will swap part of the territory that was part of the state of Israel until 67, that will become part of the Palestinian state, so that the Palestinian state will be identical to 67. And then I proposed that Jerusalem, the Arab side of Jerusalem, will be the capital of Palestine. And I also proposed and presented it to the Palestinian leader, Mahmoud Abbas, that the old city of Jerusalem, which is presently under the exclusive political sovereignty of the State of Israel, will cease to be under the sole exclusive political of Israel, and it will be administered by a trust of 5 nations: Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, and America. So that there will not be one flag in the old city of Jerusalem, not Israeli flag and not a Palestinian flag, in order to leave it open for everyone. Now, all this I have proposed to the Palestinians, and they didn't have the courage to sign it in 2008, 2009. More than a year ago, I signed a joint statement with Dr. Nasser al-Qudwa, the former foreign minister of the Palestinian Authority and the former UN ambassador of the Palestinian Authority, and the nephew of Arafat. And we signed a proposal for the end of the war in Gaza and for a comprehensive peace on the basis of 2 states. And the proposal that we signed, not just made an announcement, signed, first document signed by a senior Palestinian, a senior Israeli, particularly after the beginning of the war in October. And it is based on the peace proposals that I gave to Mahmoud Abbas in 2008. So number one, it is still possible. Now, in the 4.4% of the territory of the West Bank, there are 82% of the Israelis that live across the Green Line live in the 4.4%. So it is doable. It is practical. It can be done. It can be carried out. We need to want. We need to fight for it. We need to talk about it. We need to campaign about it. We need to rally all the international community to support the negotiations for a 2-state solution, not just recognition, not just vague statement. Negotiations between the 2 sides for 2 states.
¿Cree que lo verá?
In your lifetime or in my lifetime?
In your lifetime.
I'm very young, of course.
I have a question. Tengo otra pregunta sobre las protestas en España, en Europa, en contra del genocidio en Gaza.
There is no genocide in Gaza.
You don't want to use this word?
No, I never use this word, and I never agreed to accept it because it's not true. There is no genocide. There were crimes committed, and I criticized these crimes. There were victims of terror that were not supposed to get killed. Unfortunately, as a result of this battleground and the complications, it did happen, and I'm very sorry for it. There is no genocide. Now, there are demonstrations. I don't want to fight with the demonstrators. I just would suggest to them that they will demonstrate against the Israeli government, not the Israeli people, and not the state of Israel. Millions in Israel are in my position against the Israeli government. Millions of Israelis are in favor of ending the war now against the Israeli government. So if someone doesn't support the Israeli government, they should demonstrate against the Israeli government and not the Israeli people.
¿Qué piensa de las críticas sobre usar la palabra genocidio que hablan de antisemitismo?
There is a lot of anti-Semitism across the world. There has been. I don't want to need to remind you that millions of Jews were exterminated in Europe because of anti-Semitism, and it didn't disappear completely. There is anti-Semitism. However, not every time that someone says that he is against the Israeli government, that he is an anti-Semite. You can be against the Israeli government and not be an anti-Semite. and I know many of my former friends or friends of Israel across the world and across Europe who are very heartbroken because of the conduct of the Israeli government that criticized the Israeli government, and I don't think that they are anti-Semites. And some of my good friends in Spain, and I was in Spain last week, and speaking at La Toja, there were wonderful people there that criticized the government of Israel, and none of them was anti-Semite.
Last question, última pregunta. ¿Qué piensa del gobierno español? Usted ha estado en el gobierno aquí en Israel. ¿Qué le parece la posición que está tomando el gobierno español?
I didn't meet your president. I met, or prime minister, I met your foreign minister a couple of times in Spain and in Europe. And we agreed on certain things, we disagreed on other things, but we had a very open and sincere and genuine discussion, respectful discussion. Style of Prime Minister Sanchez is a little bit overblown. I wish he would be a lot more restrained. I had disagreements with Prime Minister Zapatero at the time that I was Prime Minister, he was Prime Minister, and we didn't always agree about things, but we had a very good personal rapport and respectful relationships, and I wish that Sanchez would have learned something from Zapatero.
Okay, thank you very much. Muchas gracias, señor Ólmert, por haber atendido a la Sexta. Gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.